Hi, and welcome back to another mOth copy trading basics video. In this video, we're going to look at who to copy. You've just joined eToro. You've heard about the amazing copy trade feature that eToro has, but there's so many traders. Which ones are the best? Which ones are the safest? Who should I be copying? Now, the first thing to be looking out for when you're trying to find someone to copy is to check that the historical stats are good enough for you, whichever percentage you have in mind. Whether you think between 10 and 30% per year is suitable for your needs, then obviously make sure that the trader's historic data under the stats tab meets that expectation. So I've got Jace VXR here as an example. So what I would recommend is check the previous year. You want to see as much statistics as possible on the screen. So obviously right now, when I'm recording this video, we're in February 2021. So there's only 2 months here to look at. So I'm going to go back to 2020 and have a look. So I can see that he's trading every month. He's consistent. He's active on the account, which is a good sign. More so that it looks like a healthy year that he had. There isn't too many red months, if you will. Nice big green blocks here. And the total amount he made for 2020 was 124%. Now, this is just my preference. Obviously, you can start from any number you want, have any number in mind that you want. Generally, the more money that they make, the more risky they are. So you may want to look at smaller sizes, maybe 30%, 40% for the year, maybe even less. Now, let's have a quick look at Yepe for his 2020. Now, whilst Yepe has 25,000 copiers, so he's one of the most popular and copied people, personally, these massive, large red losses, in this case, minus 14%, is not acceptable for me. That's too much of a loss. So in comparison for the big green blocks here, I like to look for smaller red blocks, like this size in comparison, not this big. So ideally, I would look for all green for the 12 months, which is very hard to do. If you can find it, then maybe that person might be for you. Or reasonable size red months, like even this one might be acceptable for my standards. So you just need to look at it and make a decision. So if Yepe, 36% he made in 2020 is a very high number. So you might think this is okay. It all depends on how you want to go about it. But just make sure they're trading frequently and that you're happy with what you see on the statistics page for the previous year or the current year if there's a large amount of months, say maybe if it's October when you're looking at or something, just a nice amount of months. The second thing that I would advise is to make sure that the biggest trade they have is not too high. Now, I can't really give a number here, but off the top of my head, I would say ideally not too much over 200 or 300%. So if you sort by value or even the profit loss, okay, the biggest number here. So in this case, Henrik Hein, he has a position in NEO, which he has gained 1,500% for. And he hasn't closed that position yet. He's had it for a while. He invested almost 4% of his funds onto NEO. But as a result of it growing 1,500%, the value of that 3.96% has now grown to 35%. So one thing I would say is be very careful. I mean, in this example with Henrik Hein, I would say these two would bring up a red flag for me in regards to the synchronization. Okay, so if you started copying Henrik, so what he gains in the next 12 months from now would be a different percentage to what you gain. You will not be in synchronization to what he's making. It will be a little bit different because obviously 4% and 35%, there's quite a big difference. Ideally, you only want a small difference, that the value is not too much higher than the invested. So this can cause synchronization issues. It's not an absolutely huge issue, in my opinion. But if you're in the final steps of finalizing a trader that you want to copy, I would say apply this method as well, and just make sure that they haven't got all their stocks over 1,000%, because you're not going to be making the same gains that they've made in their statistics, which you've just looked at and thought, that's really good. I want to copy him because he can make me that much. If his value is that high and he doesn't close these trades a lot, you won't be making that percent value. It will be under. The amount of how under it is will be dependent on how high their values are, how much of their assets are really high value and really high percentage that they've gained and still holding. Finally, we need to make sure that we can actually copy the trader. In this example, we're going to look at prototype VR, and we're going to check the minimum size. If you don't know how to check the minimum copy trade size to find out how much money you need to fully copy the trader, then there's a video of one of my other basic videos here somewhere. If you click on that link, otherwise it'll be in the description, and that will tell you how this next step happens. So let's have a look at his minimum trade size. So at the moment, 0.15 is the smallest on the parent trades. Let's have a click into some others and see if we can find any smaller ones. Okay, so I've had a quick look. When you're deciding a trader, it's advised to look at all of the assets, click into each one of them and see all the child trades and find what the smallest one is. Okay, so in this case, I've had a small look just for the example that I'm sharing here today. So 0.15 is the smallest. So we'll do 100 divided by 0.15. And we can see that 666, or round it up to 670, would be the minimum copy trade size amount. So if you don't have $670, then it wouldn't be advised to copy prototype VR, because you wouldn't copy all of his trades. You'd copy a fraction of them. Most likely the majority of the trades you would copy, but there would be some that you would not copy. And ideally, you need to be as close to their performance as possible, copying all the trades they have and being in synchronization with them, which I've just covered on the 3 steps that we've had. So if you have a look at those 3 steps and follow those through, then you should be in a good position and be happy with your copy trade. Okay, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.